I just want to stop. Okay. First thing is I need to find a way to get the place to get comfortable. Second, I need to know where you come at so that I don't like lay in your droplets.
What?
Where do you come at in here?
Why would it be on the floor?
Because you can't. It like aerosolizes. Like you can't catch everything. You know, there's always going to be like a little bit of crust where you come at.
Do you just do it straight on the floor and vacuum or something?
Can you imagine?
Just like,
Can you imagine just doing it like straight on the floor for like months? It's just like
that's a really hard part of the floor.
your chair rolls easier, like it's on a roll mat,
Oh my god!
like over the crust.
Yeah, that would happen.
That would.
Is this from experience?
No,
Do you know people that have places they come on the floor?
no.
Sure
Well,
sounds
the
like
places
you.
where I know people don't come on the floor, but come ends up on the floor, and then you mop it. So
If you have tile,
Or
gonna
wood.
you're not gonna mop carpet.
no, but that's why you don't have. If you're gonna come places, you can't come somewhere where there's carpet at.
Is it a hard and fast rule?
I don't know. Is it Like-
I wouldn't know. I'm not part of the community that comes on floors.
that comes on floors? The floor coming community.
Yeah, I'm not part of that.
Yeah, I don't traffic with that. I don't deal in that. Yeah,
There's a good punk band, floor coming community.
that does sound good. I do like that. That's a cool band name. Or like calcifying ejaculation sounds like a porno grind band. That's pretty cool.
I mean, yeah, any really good adjectives, probably gross adjectives.
Yeah. Band names, song names.
Just look that up and just throw the thesaurus at a band camp, and then see what you get. What new music comes out.
Yeah. Bandcamp Thesaurus. I think that's what the metal section is called.
I mean, yeah, there's tons of sections,
Yeah.
and it's still like that's the thing. It's still funny because like you have like a basic genre of most things, and then anything else that doesn't work is in world. I've noticed.
Oh yeah.
World is like, what's the point of world? You could be more specific, but then you'd be like 30,000 genres.
Yeah, like cuz
Just
that's
shove it in
for
world.
that's for stuff that's like so regionally specific that like to talk about like, oh, it's this kind of music. Because the reason why you have genres is so you have a shared vocabulary to talk about music with.
Right.
But like, so if you say like, oh yeah, it's like blackened thrash metal, it's like, okay, yeah, I know what's up. But if you're like, oh, it's this, like type of polka kind of or whatever from the middle of this country that's only played in this region, stuff like that, like you don't have any like frame of reference for it except that it's from somewhere else in the world, so you throw it under world, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, there's been like music that clearly had a genre name for it, and it's just in world because they speak a different language. That's it.
That's kind of fucked up.
That's what I've noticed. Yeah, it's like, oh, this is just a regular metal album, and it's in world.
Huh. I don't usually look in worlds, so I mean that I haven't been able to draw that connection, but that's unfortunate. Like, well, it's kind of like how
The Indian metal band thing was in world.
That's weird.
Because, yeah, no, it's like more than that.
Yeah.
It's definitely not really, I wouldn't consider it world.
No. It's like, well, it's like how, the Grammys, they originally were like, what do they call it? Oh yeah, it's like best like urban music, and it's like,
Best black
oh,
people music.
yeah, literally, and they changed it to something else that was like that was like world music or whatever, and it's like this still is terrible. Like,
Other.
just what?
Other. Yeah, I mean, I guess it is the same thing, which is like, how many genres are you going to have?
It's just like, that's one thing, but it's also it also really is. It just seems like the people who are in charge of the Grammys, like they were told, hey, how about we don't have like this black people only category? That's sort of weird, and it just doesn't compute to them. They're like, so they want it to be named something else? We can't just not have one, and everyone else is like, yes, you can just not have one. You can just be, broaden your horizons a little.
Yeah, I don't know what they call it now.
I forget. It's something that's equally like, this didn't solve the problem. Like, it doesn't solve the problem at all.
I mean, yeah, what do the Grammys do anyways?
Oh, yeah, the Grammys are stupid.
I mean, usually like, yeah, whatever. There's a lot of like, oh, that won the Grammys that year. Well, either it's like, oh, they deserved it, so now they have more recognition, or yeah, that didn't win.
Yeah.
whatever everyone thinks else won.
When so the metal category usually isn't televised. I think the last time it might have been was when Ghost got it and was performing.
I didn't even
But
know
like
they do that. Yeah, I didn't know they televise it.
High on Fire got is Grammy Award winning. Matt Pike, the guitarist for fucking Sleep and the guitarist and vocals for High on Fire and all that shit, is now a Grammy Award winner. His shirtless toeless motherfucker he was up there in a leather jacket, you know, like nobody was in there because nobody watches the metal like performance. He's like, yeah, like hell yeah, thanks, this kicks ass, and then like left, and now his Wikipedia page says, yeah, you know, Grammy Award winning guitarist Matt Pike. And
I
it's
mean,
like,
yeah,
Jesus.
it means that enough people saw you. It doesn't even mean you're necessarily always good.
Well, no, his shit
His stuff's
rips.
good?
His shit's very, very good. Like his shit's genre defining, but it's also just funny seeing Matt Pike of all people accept a Grammy.
I mean, did he deserve it this year or deserved it like years ago?
I mean, I don't know. Like again,
the other thing is about like the lag. Like, oh, best artist 10 years afterwards,
right?
when they really deserved it.
I mean that, yeah. I think literally what it is they're like, oh, we got to find somebody to fill the metal genre. So who are we gonna get this time? Oh, I guess Matt Pike is cool, and it's like he totally is good enough to deserve that. Like he puts out really good shit, and his shit's really influential. But I guess what I'm saying is it all feels very performative, you know?
Yeah, that does seem to be the point. Yeah,
I mean, yeah, that is the point,
I
ain't
mean,
it?
that, like this year, apparently, I wasn't paying attention, but I listened to some guy who talks about pop music, and he talks about like, yeah, this year apparently like Billie Eilish got another Grammy, and she's like, why did I get another Grammy? While like Megan Thee Stallion, who like worked her ass off last year to become like something of a household name, didn't get any.
She got snubbed?
She got snubbed.
Oh my fucking
God! She
God.
got one, but then there was another category of like an overall, and then it gave to Billie Eilish, and everyone's like, what? And then I think I didn't see it, but I think Billie Eilish was like, Megan Thee Stallion deserved this. Why am I getting it? Because she didn't care, but she's already had like 4 or something.
Right.
And she's like, I'm just going to do what I want to do now. I got the clout. But like Megan Thee Stallion was like clawing her way into the scene like all year. And then they're like, nope, you just get one.
It's so arbitrary.
She like clawed her way to the scene.
She's been working. Like she's been doing shit.
Yeah, WAP is great.
Yeah. I wonder if I have to. Never mind.
WAP.
I was gonna make a joke, but I can't make it.
Oh.
There,
pretty
thanks.
good.
I was wondering when that was gonna come
I heard,
in.
yeah, this is after it's been cut.
Yeah. After it's been cut, man, that's being really presumptuous. That I'm gonna cut anything.
Last bit of laughing.
The little laugh. I remember when Tyler the Creator finally got a Grammy for Igor, which I love that album. He totally deserved it for it. And then he got it, and then he got on like camera like after the announcements, like at the Grammys, just being like, "Yeah, this is fucking bullshit and stupid," and they just lump all the black artists together and nothing like we were talking about, and none of this matters. And
that
now
sounds
he's
like Tyler, yeah.
Yeah, and now he's never gonna win another Grammy again. But you know, he was speaking the truth. You know, he's right. Like, I don't even know, because I think that's what's so confusing about it is it's not even like an industry trade show thing. It's not even like a popularity contest. Like, what even is it anymore? Like how do they decide this shit?
The money.
But there's plenty of artists who make all sorts of money. Like Megan Thee Stallion made a ton of money. It's seemingly like really arbitrary. Like I don't know who the fuck makes these decisions. Like,
yeah, I mean, unless it's like NPR or something. I don't know. Like, oh, this is what we think is really great. But I feel like they've already suggested a lot of like, did Frank Ocean ever get one?
I think he did.
I think people talk, because I don't know him very much, but they were like talking to death about him like a couple years ago.
Let me check
his last album.
What was his last album called?
I don't know. I just heard some songs people covered of him, and I was like, oh, I like this. And then I listened to the song too. I think like one was like Super Rich Kids, whatever album that was from. That was like what people were really talking about. I think. I don't know much about Frank Ocean, but I hear a lot of people talk about him. I'm sure he did. He seems to be the type that would. Because
He won Best Urban Contemporary Album.
So he did get the official black one.
Yep, he got the official black Grammy.
I mean, I know probably Kendrick got that too.
He did.
Is it the same? Was it the same one?
I'm pretty sure it's the same one. Yeah, let's see who's won it.
Did he win it also for DNA? Or was it just for Pimp a Butterfly?
Oh, he absolutely won stuff for Damn. But I love how the moment you go to this Wikipedia page, it's like, controversies. Many African-American musicians have disputed the use of the term urban contemporary, seen as a catch-all for music created by black artists. In a backstage interview given after his first Grammy win, artist Tyler, the Creator, said it sucks that whenever we, and I mean guys that look like me, do anything that's genre bending or anything, it's always put in a rap and urban category.
That's stupid.
It's totally right. It's 100% right. I'm trying to see who's won it.
I think I liked Igor. I don't remember too much of Igor except
Gay Breakup album, man. It's best gay breakup album ever. Kicks ass.
Don't leave.
Yeah. It's my fault.
Did Joji win anything? Probably not.
No.
Super sleeper.
He's still like, yeah.
I guess.
All the 88 Rising stuff is still pretty, like.
It doesn't feel like it, but I guess it is.
It doesn't feel like it because we're online.
I know, yeah. Sometimes I forget that. I'm like,
yeah.
What do you mean you don't know about this meme from an hour ago?
Right. Yeah. Because we all fucking live on the internet.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't even think it's not like I do spend a lot of time online, but it's not like I'm always like on it. It's just in the background, I guess. You know what I mean? Like it's always been a part of my life and it always will be type of thing. So I'm just always tuned in. But yeah, Frank Ocean won it. The Weeknd won it. Beyonce won it. Pharrell Williams won it. Thundercat had it the most recently.
Thundercat's a lot more like, I don't know how many people that knows Thundercat. Because he's just like Kamasi Washington a little bit.
Yeah, he's a jazz artist. I thought he was jazz. Yeah, funk and stuff like that.
You closed the door.
Okay. You're cutting in and out on your mic.
Am I?
I don't know if it's my headphones or...
around.
Yeah, you're moving too much.
I'm moving too much.
Yeah, I don't want there to be like...
I can hear myself. It might be your headphones.
Oh, it might be. That's fine. I was going to say, if there's spots in the audio, that's not my problem. That's whoever's listening to this problem.
Yeah.
Hi, Casey.
So. I heard myself.
We're talking about how stupid the whole urban contemporary category for the Grammys is. Because it's like, oh, did a black guy make it?
Music.
Put it in there. Instead of, jazz or metal or funk or literally anything else, pop.
Don't they do like only really, really big categories?
That's horrible.
Because did they even do funk category?
I don't know. I don't know.
Because then I'd be like, now I can't remember the name. Not The Weeknd.
I mean, the point about this isn't to say like, oh, do they have the other categories? The point is just to drive home how out of touch like the Grammys are and have been, and just they just don't matter. Like they really, really don't.
But it gets people money.
It does.
As in, if you get seen by it.
Is the Grammys going to be like Toys R Us, just slowly dying over a decade?
It already has. They remember last year, nobody wanted to be the announcer for the Grammys, so they just had like pre-recorded voices and stuff, like just some announcer reading stuff off. They did that again this year.
Wow.
Nobody wanted to host it.
I don't know if it probably will reinvent itself. I don't see why people would probably let it die. I mean, maybe it'll reinvent itself completely different and then just be something else.
It might. I mean,
it's really hard for me to believe that it's just going to go away, die.
I don't think it's going to go away. All I'm saying is that I think the general consensus is that it just doesn't matter. I think the public perception is that the Grammys are bullshit.
Yeah, and then in the urban category, it's like my favorite urban artist.
It's just so bad. Well, it's so out of touch.
Same thing with country music, but it makes more sense because there's like no black artists in country music.
There's a couple, but
so like one person gets the reward all the time.
There's a couple, but that's the thing, right? Is that like it's obvious that it's still being run by like a board of people who still think it's all urban music. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, imagine being the best country artist of the year, but only getting like the best urban country artist. Like everyone believes you're the best of the year, and you're like, you got the best.
Oh yeah, that's absolutely true. That happens too. That absolutely happens.
Yeah, like you said, Beyonce got it. But she probably also got the best album of the year too with Lemonade. I'm sure she did.
I think she did.
She'd be easy contender. That's like Grammys would easily.
She's
give it
won
to
Grammys
Beyonce.
a lot.
Yeah, it's one of those things like you're the type Grammy type because she's super close to her image. So
I think she's won Album of the Year a few times, like best album and stuff a few times too.
yeah, she's just that type. Some people just are the type where they keep their image really close to them and then they just do really well in the Grammys.
That's true.
Image thing, if you're. Because I was just thinking when you first brought it up was, did the Red Hot Chili Peppers ever get any?
Oh God! Oh no!
That's what I was wondering.
I mean, that would be when the moment that happened. Then it's like, well, we no longer have to pay attention to the Grammys. Red Hot Chili.
Because I know they're probably in Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
I have a sinking feeling that they are.
Sometimes there's good bands that don't make it for a while, but I feel like they did.
They are one of the best-selling bands of all time. They were inducted into the Hall of Fame in 2012 and won 6 Grammys.
Hell yeah.
Oh, my God.
I wonder what... I guess that's a lot of albums, because it's usually like albums, right? I mean, they don't really do much singles. Because, yeah, I remember when one of the... I wonder if they got for the last album, because the last album was not that great.
What kind of
Yeah, their later stuff was...
what kind of activism do they have?
The one
they
before
done?
that was great. Or their famous one where it's Don't Stop. That's where I got into them. Don't Stop. That whole album's golden.
You can't even like them for their activism because all of their shit is like really toothless philanthropy. Like the obvious, like we could just donate to this cause and be seen as benefactors and get write-offs on our taxes. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, you mean as a band as a whole? Because individually they might have done.
I mean, I
see Flea around, but I don't know if he does any activism.
Oh my God, I haven't heard of Flea in forever.
He's in stuff all the time. I forgot something even recent. There was like, and starring Flea. And I was like, what?
Starring Flea?
Not starring, but it was like in the background.
Flea,
I can't remember.
musician.
I can't remember something he did.
He's an
something.
Australian? He's an Australian American?
Oh, it's like probably when he was young.
His name is Flea. Oh, I know what song he came out with.
Would you like to sing it?
I'm not,
ahead.
I'm not gonna sing
I
that
got a good
song.
mic for it. You'll get your...
A good mic. It'll get the dulcet tones of my fucking voice. In 2019, Flea published a memoir of his life called "Acid for the Children." That says a lot. Yeah. Okay, filmography. Flea was last in Arlo the Alligator Boy as Ruff.
What?
He's in a lot of animation. That's true.
Arlo the Alligator Boy?
Yeah.
The hell is this? He was also in Baby Driver as Eddie No Nose.
Okay, that's still what I thought he was in something else. But yeah, he's floating around.
Arlo the Alligator. Oh my God, this is like a cartoon, like totally like Gravity Falls looking ass Netflix cartoon that is like 100% furry bait. Like 100%. Yeah, Flea is just in it. That's pretty cool. Who's he playing? Was it a human hillbilly? Yeah, okay.
I'm Flea. I'm Australian.
Oh, I'm Flea. I'm Australian.
He probably was like moved over.
I'm just playing a bogan.
I swear he was in something like weirder than that, but I guess it is. It's pretty weird.
That is weird.
Because I always think about the Big Lebowski. He famously was the one holding scissors.
That's true.
Oh, was he?
Yeah. Oh, I thought that was one of those ones where every time someone watches the Big Lebowski, someone brings it up. Like,
one of those tidbits.
Yeah.
That's Flea. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I always think about. Well, there's Flea right there. And then he's in other stuff.
Man, can you imagine being the type of person where the thing you contribute to conversations is movie trivia about the Big Lebowski? That wasn't a dig at you.
How dare you?
That wasn't at all. What?
I regularly give trivia on the Big Lebowski.
What I'm talking about, you just dropped some.
Ouch.
I
felt that.
You just dropped some facts, Matt.
Damn.
You weren't. That's not like your personality, if you get what I mean. Like,
oh shit. He just wanted on the recording and roasting me. I'm not even a movie trivia person either. I'm the anti of that. I hate that.
You need a shot. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. Is that people who that's their whole thing. You need like a shotgun button, like for for when one of us roasts the other guy.
Oh,
That was
Nice, yeah.
that was the most delicate laughter.
it's still going.
Is it?
Yeah.
See, your roast is great.
I like it that it's basically you're just doing it like it's like there's people and it's like ha, and that's it.
That is the point. Yes.
You know, maybe we should start talking about RPGs now that Casey's here.
Okay.
Now that the gamesman
20 minutes in.
is
Is
here.
that all I'm good for?
That is that.
What's
my
my
point?
You just said you're good.
Man, you're admitting a lot about us. You
You
know?
There's
just
a
said
lot
you
of
had some
truths
trivia.
coming out. Yeah.
Yeah, you said you had trivia too.
Yeah, I have some trivia. Yeah, yeah. You want some trivia? I have some trivia about you, motherfucker.
Mother beep.
I guess we can move it a little bit to like,
Beep.
Well, okay, we were talking about movies. That's a good segue into 2D20 because a lot of the stuff they do is movies. You see the
Sure,
like
I
the,
agree.
like the
Sure.
John Carter of Mars movie and the Denis Villeneuve Dune movie.
Yeah, but the movie was kind of boring.
Hey, I thought the movie. I saw John Carter of Mars and John Carter in theaters. I thought it was pretty good.
It was cool looking.
Haven't seen it.
Didn't thrill me.
Do you think it's a good introduction to the setting?
I don't know. I don't know enough about the setting. I know it's a very old setting. I know it's got a lot to it.
I'm reading The Dying Earth right now for the Appendix N book club stuff that I want to put on, and so I can catch up to Matt. I've got notes.
good
I got
luck.
discussion
Good luck.
notes.
Good luck.
Good luck. What? Catching up to you?
Depends.
Matt's trick is
I'm in a
finding
mood.
whatever you're doing and then just doing it faster than you can.
I like
Anytime
conversation.
I play a game with him, he doesn't care about the game until I'm like a third of the way in, and then I finally get him to play it. He beats me to the ending every time.
He's a spite-driven being.
Yeah, I usually don't care about this stuff. I just want to get it done.
Fuck. Well, la-di-da. Sorry I asked if you wanted to be part of a book club. Shit.
No, I always wanted to be a book club because no one ever wants to read.
It
Every
is-
time I
yeah,
talk to someone, they're
yeah.
like, I used to read 50 books a second when I was 5.
50.
And I was like-
when I was 3, I read War and Peace 5 times with my eyes closed.
Yeah, I always hear those kind of people, and they're like, I can't put it in. If it's on a book, I fall asleep. I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah.
Yep.
And I'm like, yeah, me too, but I just keep doing it. There you go.
Those are the people you feed a phone book.
I really like those books. I like those.
I'll probably I'm getting back into a rhythm of reading, and I'll probably be a lot faster once things open up a little bit more, and I could be like, okay, first meeting here, read this, deadline, let's go. Even though you're already like far done.
I
But
mean,
I
it's
got
fine.
I got a lot of stuff. There's a lot of
I'd
interesting
rather
stuff
be
to talk
ahead than
about.
behind,
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
just so I can like remember it. But I also don't
Yeah.
have like Ben memory, so I'm gonna be like, I don't remember that happened.
I figured that the more when
I get
people
the
start
gist.
talking about it, you'll probably be like, oh yeah, it'll probably all come back.
The beep.
I don't know what that's supposed to. Was that beep supposed to be wizards? Was that the beep?
You'll get there. No, I don't know. That could mean literally anything.
There's a certain wizard.
I know what I did
In the-
when Casey read Name of the Rose. I sped read. I did an audiobook times 2 for 2 days.
Yeah, I started reading it. And I'm like, this
Jesus.
is really good. You should read it. And
I
he's
missed
like,
a lot of good
all right,
stuff,
I'll just
though.
listen to it at times 2 speed and beat you again.
You're reading. It's like you have an
I did miss a lot of good
auctioneer
stuff.
reading a book to you.
It depends. Literally, if the author is reading at a good pace, I'll let it go. But sometimes they're just like freaking dragging their feet.
Oh, that drives
I
me
hate that.
insane when
But I
people
usually
are
do
like really
0.4.
slow. Yeah.
Like 0.4 is my minimum, unless it's already speaking really fast. If not, like times 2 is if the information is so basic, I don't really care. Like
Yeah.
like self-help stuff. It's just like you gotta be a better person. Be a better person. You gotta go outside and take care of it. And you're like, all right.
We gotta find the quest as Hatterack and gotta be able to...
But like, if you hit like really deep or like philosophical things, you have to go like half the speed.
I don't even think, even after knowing as much as I know about like Dune and shit, I don't think I could even comprehend Dune on twice the speed. I'd be like, where the fuck are we? What part are we at?
Even when,
Canterbury Tales at twice the speed. One to the foot of the shore, so to the door to match up, but there's no speech which you're doing, the floor.
Yeah.
after the pearl, past the soda.
Past the soda.
Past the soda.
From New England to Canterbury, they win.
And won the race. No, it just depends.
Yeah.
That's why I like the book club, because I did the same thing when I was like middle school. The church had like a same thing. They had a book club, and I was like 3 books ahead. And I was like, "Are we gonna just actually talk about books?" And it was like the slowest thing in the world.
Well,
We got through like 3 chapters of one book, and I'm like, I already read all these books.
Yeah.
It'll be great for you to have a book club, because then you'll figure out the other 75% of the story you're missing because you don't get the context or you're listening to it too fast.
Yeah,
That's a very good point.
Even when
actually.
I read, though, I'll miss a lot just because my brain.
Yeah.
Like when Patrick was talking about not midnight picnic, roadside picnic.
Yeah,
There's some like subtle things I didn't get, but that was me reading normally.
Yeah.
My brain will just like block out a lot of things.
I think to be charitable, I think everybody focuses on different things when they read.
No.
Just like how everybody, like if people who are running or playing games will focus on different things, or like when you're writing stuff, you'll care more about certain things. Like the reason why you bring a lot of people together for book clubs or for creative efforts is because everyone's going to think of something else. Everyone's going to pay attention to something else.
Yeah, that'd be
you know
good.
what I mean?
Yeah. I'm hoping to talk about it. Yeah. Let's just talk about that. I know like another friend found like a random philosophy book that he had, like John, he found a random philosophy book on the floor somewhere and he started reading it. And then I also sped read a 5-hour audiobook, which is pretty short, obviously, for most audiobooks.
Yeah.
And then he didn't finish it.
Nice.
Yeah, he's probably tired of you running laps around him, being like, "You done?"
No,
you done?
that was like the first time I ever did that. And another person wanted to read a book. She talked about a book about like chakra systems. I don't really usually care about that, but
Yeah,
I was like, sure, because I like to approach people what they think. So like, if a book strikes them, then I'll read it because then I can better understand how they think.
you know how like I think one part of like people are paying attention to different things when they're reading stuff. By that same token is even if you're reading something that you like are totally not jiving with, you can still take something away from it. Did you take something away from the chakra books, or you're like, this is all just fucking hippie bullshit?
It was a lot of self-help, but it was still like it's now I can approach like doing because we do yoga with this person, we can like approach it in a different way, and so when she talks about certain things, I can actually translate it into what it says in the book. Like, so not like translated like, I think it's stupid, but like how it's approached. Like, so someone like says, you'll do this one thing, you only get the face value, but if you read it in the context of the system, then you have a better understanding of it, of what they're coming from.
Yeah, okay.
That's not a very political way I said it.
It sort of did.
But I did, like, I do mean it. Like,
I wish I knew the face value of exactly what you said.
because like, yeah, because now I understand we're reading Dying Earth, like the way you see your games a bit, like the way, like I see the old, like the first, third edition, how it was supposed to look more.
Yeah,
I really don't feel that usually. Like, okay, there's 1, 2, and 3 edition, but then you really do get like a really cool feeling of like this is what the edition was like inspired by. And so I did love that. Like Dying Earth was great because it transported you into this world that was like everyone's gonna die, whatever. Which is definitely Jimmy's type of world. Which is like, the whole world's fucked. We're just gonna do whatever we want to do.
You stumbled into the truth of what's going on, which is I'm starting this book club, just like how I run 5th edition to like trick people into playing old school D&D. That's what I'm doing, is I'm being like, oh, yeah, see, you read these, now you want to play old school D&D.
I am a 400-year-old wizard, and I have 4 spells I can do today.
I could jam these other spells into my fucking brain, and
the Dying Earth 2 is all around, too, because I thought it was mostly wizards, but it was only like 2 stories. Everything else is like other people. Yeah.
Oh shit! Because
It's like Canterbury, where like one person of a story will have their own story.
I finished the second one just now with Merizian or whatever his name is. I was under the impression that it was all going to be about wizards, and I had all these questions I wrote up about wizards.
Yeah,
but I guess the wizards still apply because I mean it's implied there's a ton of wizards, like not a ton of wizards, but like
if you do the
a couple dozen of them or whatever.
Mazaran the magician, I think.
Yeah.
He
I
brings
think
up
a couple
all the
dozen
ones.
would still be a literal pound weight of ton of wizards.
Yeah,
that's true.
Feather though. Yeah, I can lift
TONNE of wizards.
Yeah, so you'd still have a ton of wizards.
A ton of wizards.
You just have a
most of them are
ton.
most of them are dead in this, but there's a lot of secret ones, and they all are trying to get they're trying to get scraps of the knowledge that was been lost.
No, there's no dead wizards.
I like the idea that like it actually is only a ton TONNE of wizards can exist at the same time. So the reason why all these wizards are like really thin, frail old men is because they literally like need to be as thin as possible.
And then there's just one giant fucking fat wizard that's just like he's got it all. He's had it for 600 years.
That guy's been at the top of the pile the whole time. The rest of us have to eat radishes. We're on a radish and water diet because he's taking up all the wizard bandwidth.
You'll get to that. Yeah, that's Fendel. You'll get to that story.
Nice. Okay, good.
That's
good.
Cool.
I can't wait for that.
But no, there are no dead wizards. If you're dead, you obviously weren't that much of a wizard.
That's true.
That's
absolutely true.
I don't know if there was necromancers in the story. I guess there's an assumption that there is some, but yeah, I'm clear that there is. Like, they can literally like do what they want with life. That's what one of the stories is. They're like, "Hey, I want to make a person," and he's like, "Okay, just take this mail and give it to someone. Now I'll teach you to be a person." And
even though the world's, it's so bizarre that even though the world's like dying, they're like, okay, well, let's create life. It's like create life to put on a dying. Why? You know what I mean? Like,
did you get to that story? The one with the great life? Oh no, you got partially.
I got
the wizard who
I did Turjan's story and then Merizian's story where Turjan is in it.
Yeah, Turjan's story is the one that he goes to Fendel.
Yeah. I'm just saying that it's not clear why because Merizian also has vats, and so does Pandaloom. So it's like, why are all these wizards trying to create life when the world's dying?
Oh, that's not. Oh, well, Marzran probably just wants to have minions.
Why wouldn't you, if you're insanely powerful, try to create life while the world's dying? You're literally spitting in the face of your entire environment. What's more wizard-like than that?
It seemed like the implication was like, because wizards like Pandaloom have their own pocket dimension and has perfected creating life.
Pandaloom, I said it wrong.
I felt like the idea was that all the wizards that are left are trying to get powerful enough to, one, create their own pocket dimension that's not Earth so they don't die, and two, populate it with life.
I don't know if I felt that with them. I think they were just trying to get the only power they could get. Because the whole thing is like, yeah, literally every single person in this world knows it's going to be destroyed any minute now. It seems like any minute.
It is any minute. The moon's fucking gone.
It's any minute, and also could be 100 years.
Well, but that's what I'm saying is, if you're a very powerful wizard, none of that matters if you're still stuck on the same dying Earth with the rest of these motherfuckers. And the fact that Pandaloom, one, is in his own pocket dimension that he made, and two, has perfected making life, and Turjan has to like use a spell to go to him and like talk to him, implies that all of these wizards are trying to like Noah's Ark of this shit and get themselves and the life that they can make out of Earth and into their own little paradise before it's too late.
Also sucks because he did make life, and he made one life that hates life.
Yep. Yeah.
And there's a whole story about her.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. You'll have the whole story about her.
Yeah. Oh no, that one's next.
Well, something that was made just to have life would hate life.
Well, he specifically says, I messed up on her. That I messed up, and if whatever beauty she sees, it's ugliness in her eyes.
Ooh, that's a bit more serious.
So she's in this wonderful paradise that the wizard made, and she's like, I hate every moment of this. And then so when the Tarzan wants to go back, she's like, I want to go with him, and he's like, okay, but I'll make it so you can come back if you want. She's like, nope, I'm gonna die there. And then there's a whole story of her in the world.
Nice.
Yeah, and she's just like, and then even in the world, she doesn't understand. She's just like, I don't know what beauty is because I hate it. So yeah,
cool.
Yeah, and she comes to the realization that it's like, wow, apparently everyone else does not see the world like I do. That's that's not good.
So yeah, the other stories, if it's like a full, there's like a bard. There's one story about a bard. Like there's a really cool future city later. Like extremely future city. There's some really cool. There's like really pulp stuff.
That's really exciting. I'm really looking forward to that. I'm also reading this like specifically this Appendix N anthology, and I read this. We were talking about necromancers. There's this whole story about these necromancers that get banished into the desert, and they like raise up a whole empire that like died and are like using it and controlling it and getting decadent, and then like one of the dead kings like gets a glimmer of like recognition and then leads like a coup against these necromancers. It's so fucking sick. It's all shit like that.
Is it a short story or a full novel?
It's a short story.
Oh, okay, yeah.
All the like, let's say The Dying Earth is really just a bunch of short stories. Like the Turjan of Mir one was in the anthology. But I love all of the like. I think the term, because Dungeon Crawl Classics calls itself like the Appendix N role playing game, right? And somebody was talking about how it's a Gonzo style game. I think it even describes itself like that. And Hunter S. Thompson was like the way he talked about what Gonzo means was like you're not really talking about what happened or specifically what's going on or facts or figures. You're talking about the experience and how it feels. And a lot of these stories, including the ones in The Dying Earth, I feel like a lot of the time it's less about necessarily what happened and more about just the feel, like the aesthetic, like what's oozing off of the page, the way it's written.
Like the song really gives it its, Yeah. Like the Scrying Glass album.
Yeah.
Like it feels like that. Because even more, I see the falling skies, the Sunken City book you're writing as more of a Dying Earth style.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually really true.
Because it really is like we're all screwed, but like we're just gonna keep living.
What if dying Earth was underwater?
What if living underwater was a state of cultural purgatory?
Yeah, and like there is a lot of cultural purgatory in Dying Earth because
nobody gives a shit.
Well, because there's upheavals and there's kingdoms, but because there's magic involved, some kingdoms never left, and they're stuck. So there's perpetual kingdoms that have never changed for thousands of years, and they don't know it.
Huh?
And that times they do.
That's kind of cool.
So that's why, I just realized that. I thought about that.
I'm totally backing, because the next Goodman Games setting that they're putting out for DCC is Dying Earth. I'm going to back the shit out of that, because the more I read and the more you talk about it, the bigger picture of the scope I'm getting. It'll be so cool to be able to like do all of that in the game. I think they're even doing I don't know if they're doing this for Empire of the East, but I know they're doing it for the Dying Earth, where they're like they did for Lankhmar, where they're releasing its own module line. So there's going to be a line of Dying Earth modules.
Yeah. Wow. That's cool.
It's very, very cool.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it totally fits in. It's very just like pulp. Yeah, I mean, I even felt like some Lovecraft inspirations, because I mean, it was at the time, who wasn't doing Lovecraft inspirations?
Yeah. And Conan, Robert E. Howard, who's a big a lot
of Robert E. Howard too.
He did a lot of correspondence with H.P. Lovecraft. They're both on Gary's list, for like
Gary's
I wrote D&D because of these guys. Gary.
Yeah, it makes sense. I forgot.
Gary Gygax sends his regards.
You get hit in the face with a shoe.
Yeah.
Because I forgot what I felt. I should have written it down at the time, but what I felt from Lovecraft. There's one story. I guess there's a very clear Lovecraft that you haven't got to yet. And then Howard, there's like most of it I could see come from Howard, because of the way that certain adventurers will do things.
There's a lot of Conan story, or not Conan specifically, maybe, I don't know, but like there's crossover with the mythos.
What's great in the Conan stories is always like there's literal bodies just like straight about gore and horrible stuff, and Conan just like is walking in a building and then looks down a hallway and then goes, nope, I'm never going down that hallway, and I'll forget about it as soon as possible. And that's as close as you ever get to the Lovecraft in some cases.
I never got to that story.
Conan just knows. He can feel it. He just goes, instinct's wrong.
Oh, yeah. No,
I love that shit.
There's one where this thing comes out of a well. Oh, God, I can't remember what. story that is, but that one is where he gets close to like actually seeing like Lovecraftian horror.
Yeah, because there's definitely,
and it almost gets him.
And he's smart enough to be like, I'm gonna nope the fuck. I thought the direction you were gonna take that, because I haven't read a ton of the Conan stories. I thought the direction you were gonna take it was that it's like, oh, he's just perpetually succeeding his sanity checks, but it's like, no, it's not even that. He just never makes them.
No, he's got his danger sense. His danger sense works. He's got an advantage.
Yeah.
On those wisdom saves.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
He knows better than to put himself in situations where he'd have to make a sanity check.
I forgot to say, I remember I told you at the time, but you have the Kindle. I have all Robert E. Howard stuff on that.
Oh yeah.
Oh fuck.
Yeah, it
That's
was like
cool.
$2 on like the sale, whatever.
Yeah, it's a lot to read.
It's really but that's what's nice about Howard, or like most of the even Dying Earth. It's very short.
That's what
short sections.
But yeah, they're short because how Conan's meant to be told is
different parts of his
life, like a legend told around a tale in a way.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what's said now. I think it fits very well because of kind of the different periods of when Conan was being published. It jumped around so much for trying to constantly be interesting in different articles and such.
Yeah.
But that, in a way, I think that's what something about what like any sort of new movie approach with Conan sort of misses. Like, it'd be kind of cool to just start in media res in somewhere in a completely random corner, one of these other stories of Conan's life, and then you have a sequel. That every other sequel could just be a prequel. It could be a follow-on. It could be a different stage.
Yeah,
that's what I think is so good about the first Conan movie with Schwarzenegger is it feels like a lot of little things. It feels like a lot of different chapters in the adventure. Me and Patrick watched it recently.
Yeah,
the
you
movie
said
kicks
that.
Ass.
It just reminded me. I haven't seen one super long. I remember like 10 years ago I watched it.
I watch it at least once a year, probably.
It's so good.
Oh yeah, no, because there's like I think it shows like confidence in storytelling when you don't have to explain to the audience.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
That's the whole point of John Wick. I'm not going to explain it to you. Have fun.
Show not tell. It's like one of the most basic principles of storytelling.
And that would be perfect for Conan.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I think like I really like the short story approach where it's like the author gets to like, oh yeah, I have this idea, I have this character, I can do it, get some stuff about the world, tie it off nice and neat, not go on too long, and then go on to something else within the same world. What's fun about OSR games with characters being so simple is you could do that. You could be like, you know what? I'm tired of these guys. Leave them here for now. Maybe we'll come back to them. Maybe not. Let's play these guys who are over here. Cool. We can start playing in like 3 minutes, and then you just go. And you have your own little mini, like, being able to explore your world. Like, I think there's this temptation, right, where it's like, I feel like it's like, oh, man, I have to really flesh this out. Whether I have to write a full setting book, or I have to write an entire novel, or I have to, design a bunch of mechanics. It's like, you can just do some bite-sized explorations, only talk about what you need to, and you that's all you really need to do. You know, build it in bites instead of like, feeling like, oh man, I have this daunting world building task ahead of me.
I mean, for reading, back to the reading thing slightly, that's how really to get back into reading a short story, because then you have really engaging stories and you don't feel like, oh, I have 3,000 pages left. Because a lot of people are like, oh, how long's the book? And you're like, it doesn't matter. When you read enough, it doesn't matter how long it is. It's just you're enduring for the ride. But I mean, for sometimes when I read, I do care about it. If it's just like human atrocities.
Getting through a book in a way is also it's being. You have to reading short stories definitely helps because it gives you an entire narrative arc with it. It gives you that perfect example so that when you read something longer that has more delayed gratification throughout its story, throughout its character development, you can still tell, even when you're sort of in a transition section, exactly what to anticipate next.
Yeah. It gives you the tolerance for it because, now you can enjoy it.
Yeah.
Or arguably, a novel should feel like that, like where it's like every chapter is, instead of it just being like the full novel's story arc is made up of a bunch of other little story arcs that are engaging. So even if you're always getting the same level of quality and impact as if you were reading a short story. It's just chapters in a greater narrative instead of individual short stories.
Yeah.
I don't know,
that's hard to pull off though. That's a really hard pacing thing to pull off.
Brandon Sanderson, and that's what I don't know.
Sanderson does that to a T.
Yeah, I don't know how he does that because I'm assuming he does it really well.
Yeah, he's got book encompassing arcs. He's got arcs just in between different chapters.
Yeah.
And the thing is, what he it seems, because reading deeper in his stuff, it seems like he's set them up from the start in a way, which I know that's not how it works. I know it's much more following of discovery, but there'll be like moments where a character mentions something books beforehand that then gets brought up, and then suddenly you realize, oh, that scene was impactful, and now it's doubly impactful, and that was part of the momentum of the other main story again.
Well, that's the best trick you could pull off, right? Is to make it seem like it was all intentional.
Yeah, and then you bring it up with RPGs,
Yeah.
And then there's a character that comes out of nowhere, and you're like, he was here the whole time.
Yep. Yeah.
That's what Casey does a lot. I don't.
Yeah, there's
everyone's dead.
I definitely enjoy media, and I feel the same thing with RPGs too. I like games that are demanding in the sense of it's like there is a large cast and a lot going on, and even if you don't necessarily know everything, you do need to kind of keep your head in the game. Because Ravenloft was like that.
Yeah.
There was a lot going on, and I didn't necessarily understand everything that was going on, but I had to remember, like, if Dench had met someone and, they came back like a lot later, Dench needed to remember who that person was, which means I need to remember who that person was and what Dench thought of them. So it's like, I really, that's the reason why I like Game of Thrones a lot, is because,
I was going to say, it sounds like Game of Thrones,
I like the idea that it's like, it's very demanding on the reader, but the reason why it does that is because by expecting a lot of the reader, you have the opportunity to create a really, really lush living world, because you don't need to worry about engagement as much. Like, you can engage with I guess you always have to worry about engagement, but it doesn't have to be as closed of a system. You can have a dude disappear and come back, and if you're allowed to expect that the reader will remember who they are, it gives you room to breathe, I guess. I don't know if I can quite express what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, it definitely helps obfuscate, like, the plot into much more interesting, like, consequences than just having a small cast where one of two people is probably the bad guy.
Yeah.
Or you already know who the bad guy is, but one of two people is working for the bad guy, and you don't. Who could it be?
Yeah.
Is it guy one or guy two? Okay, it's he said something weird this time, and that other character said something weird this time. It's still probably one of them.
It is super nice when you're role playing, especially because like we were talking about, like, retroactively justifying stuff and making it seem like that was the plan the whole time.
Yeah.
You can make it seem like, oh, these little things that I tried to do but kind of puttered out and were kind of in the background, those are actually this guy trying to do these things the whole time. And boom, your setting just got way deeper. You justified half-baked plots that you abandoned, and everything's hunky-dory, and it's just way cooler.
Yeah,
and now you have content.
It works when you finish the campaign. I'll let you know that. If you don't finish the campaign, everyone feels like they were just, like, tagged along and confused, but we're having a good time, but, like, it's like you're being dragged around a carnival and you're not exactly sure where the exit is.
Correct.
And it's kind of late.
Correct.
When I was talking about, I was running basic D&D, like old school stuff this week, and Old School Essentials is like my main system, and I was like that's my default now. And I was talking to everyone. The reason why is because I feel like a player when I'm running it. Like, I am just as surprised as everybody else. What I'm trying to say is, the way you get out of needing to finish the campaign is if you also don't know what's going on, and you're clear with that with the players. Like, look, dudes, I'm improvising this. We're telling the story as we go. It might end, it might not, whatever. I like that, but I like that because I like being surprised too, and I think the big and I think everything that we're talking about like employing this sort of narrative stuff in your games, it's all about letting you kind of be surprised by yourself and be surprised by the game. Because if you already know that everything's going to happen, who fucking cares?
Well, that's why I build my games in reverse. People always say, try to figure out what would happen in a campaign before the players ever got involved. And that's one approach, is think through all the different events, remove all the players, all the factions and forces of evil and stuff. How would it all fall into place if nobody got involved to try to stop it at all?
Yeah.
So I typically do that, and In one manner, a good way of doing that is tying it so that if the players never get involved, everything goes perfectly well. That way, when you have any sort of third-party interaction, it throws a wrench in everything, and it all starts spinning out of control into interesting ways.
Wow, this feels really familiar. That sounds extremely familiar in retrospect. I mean, that's what definitely gave the end of Ravenloft its really bitter taste. Not in a bad game way, but in a, oh, fuck, what have we done sort of way. Because maybe it wasn't necessarily clear whether things would have turned out right or not without us, but it's clear that our meddling did make things worse.
Everything would have turned out just perfectly fine if all those prisoners stayed in Dementolu where they belong.
Oh, I'm sure. Fuck. That sucks. That's awesome. I love that. God damn it.
That's exactly how I built Ravenloft specifically.
That's
not
beautiful.
every game, but for a horror, I thought that's probably the crux is that for most horror, it's worse off once the protagonist or whoever's involved steps into that space and tries to, garner power.
God damn it, that's so beautiful. I think by extension, thinking about that is the whole, like, players write their own story, like, or dig their own grave. Like, when a player's like, wouldn't it be crazy if the GM did this? You're like, I'm going to write that down for later. It's basically the same principle. It's like, I often feel like as a GM, you kind of get in this rhythm. I was assuming your players are proactive. All you have to do is react. There just has to be someone who's reacting. And if you're in a position, that's the best moment, when you're in a position where the players are feeding you bullshit and you're like, all I have to do is figure out how to throw this right back in your face and we're good. How about that Kingdom 2nd edition, by the way?
I know nothing about it.
I posted about it.
I know
in the Discord.
I didn't read it.
Dude, it's...
I got a busy life.
You fucking same. Damn.
I'm sitting in a chair most of the day.
Same. Yeah, actually, neither of us really have an excuse. Well, you do, because you have to look busy at least, because you like work at a place and there's people looking over your shoulder and shit.
Yeah.
But they cut it down to 88 pages, which is insane. And they removed, basically the big things they changed, they removed all the really weird convoluted stuff, like the challenging for roles or changing your roles. It's still there, but they made it way easier. That was always my problem with Kingdom that was holding it back from being like the perfect game, is there was some procedures that they had that I'm like, this doesn't make any sense. This isn't particularly intuitive.
Yeah.
And they recognized that, and now they're intuitive. Now I'm like, perfect fucking game. Easy. Boom.
Cool.
I want to do that all day Kingdom session now that we've got the new edition.
Yeah. 1 parse at a time for it.
They even have like legacy rules, so like you can carry over kingdoms between groups and stuff better.
That's super helpful because that was not supported with the original game.
No.
I attempted that and it did not work.
It was implied that you could do it, but you had to do all the legwork.
Yeah.
Now you don't. It's only 3 pages of like what to do, but it's enough to be like, okay, I know how to keep this kingdom going.
The difficulty was finding a second conflict after that first period of play, after that first big conflict of community. Finding a new conflict with the already pre-existing characters that have been fleshed out through the last session. That's what I found. Everyone had a different idea of how to approach the next part of the story, and none of it ever matched up.
Right. I do think that part of... I think that got fixed, but part of Lame Mage's games, like Microscope and all the other ones, you do feel like they're in this ecosystem that it's implied they all go off of one another.
Yeah.
So I always imagine that like your kingdom exists in a world you made in Microscope, and because you have the full history, you pretty much immediately know what could probably feed into a bigger conflict. You know what I mean? To another conflict. But if you're just running Kingdom straight, you don't have any other games to rely on. It's all just your own muscle.
It'd be cool to do a Microscope and then a few eras in Kingdom with the 2nd edition. Generate a world and then jump into characters.
I would like to do that. I haven't really done Microscope. I know you guys have.
It varies by the input around the table. Because
I believe it.
Some things are like super core and it's super interesting, and you're like, oh, that's a cool aspect. And then other times are like, halflings once ruled 90% of the earth. And you're like, great, now we have to deal with that. What does that mean?
Yeah, that does make it. That I wrote up on my blog. I wrote up the games that I'm willing to play now, or not play. I'm willing to run, and I specifically put down Kingdom as like, this is for trusted players I trust who are experienced and who want to do really heavy role play. So like Microscope, I wouldn't just play with some schmucks.
Yeah,
there's no way. Like it would have to be like you guys and Ben and you know and everyone else, like people I usually play really hard with.
Yeah.
And to some extent, not even some of those people. And that's not like a rag against, like, not the people I named, but like, there are people I play a lot of games with, I play consistently with, who are really good, but I still don't think they're the type of player who could do well in a Microscope game or a Kingdom game.
Sure.
It's very specific, which is why it's at the bottom of my menu, because it's like, yeah, I can run this, but like, we can play this, but I'm really picky. I'll be really picky about who I play it with.
I ran it for a bunch of random people, and it worked really beautifully.
That's good. I think that's partly probably your capability of moderating and explaining the game, and partly a stroke of luck.
Yeah.
You do have those really cool rando games, though, like that DCC Dungeon Crawl I did with one guy.
Yeah, that sounds intense.
Yeah, I talked about it before, but like, sometimes you strike fucking gold, and sometimes you get in a game where you're like, yeesh. Like, get me out of here.
Yeesh.
Yeesh. Yeesh. Yeah, I'd be down to do Microscope and then do some other stuff. One of the ones that he has Follow, which is the adventure one. And then he has like a